Coach just presented us with their Spring 2025 runway show at New York Fashion Week. And in this video, we're going to talk about all of the handbag goodness. I will not only show you what they showed us, but I'll help you make sense of it by organizing it into a few categories and talking about some of the things we might expect, because they often don't release to the public for sale the exact bags that are on the runway. So how can we take what we've seen there and translate that into what will probably be in retail stores this coming spring? I was looking at people's reactions in Facebook groups after the show, and there was a lot of negativity about it. But I'll say two things about that. First of all, that happens with almost every runway show because the runway items are so outrageous. They're not designed for everyday life generally. But two, I think if you only look at it at that kind of surface level, then you miss the clues of the things that are actually coming. So we'll talk about all this and more. Stay tuned. And welcome, I'm Autumn Beckman, and I'm here to help you live your most luxurious life within your budget. I post new videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of those, and so you don't miss my daily community posts where I share the best sales of the day and all the fabulous handbags that I find. Also, don't miss my website, autumnbeckman.com. I'll have that linked below, and that's where you'll find all the things that I have for sale, like handbags and accessories, but also the My Handbag Collection organizer that I designed to help you curate and organize a collection of your most beautiful things. For example, this is the front and back of the item tracker page, which is the heart of the planner. This is where you can record all the information you would ever want to know about your handbags and small goods. Just keep in mind that right at this moment, and I have a note about this on the shop page of my website, that I'm in the middle of a really big secret project, which I will be revealing very soon to you. And that project is taking all of my time and not allowing me to fulfill orders for a little bit. It'll probably be maybe a week or so before I can start getting orders out. So you can still place orders, just know that there will be a small delay in shipping. And if you're a regular viewer, you probably am wondering where I'm filming, because this is different from what I normally do. I'm sitting on the little bench in my office that I got for the dogs, because a lot of you have asked to see the dogs and how they're doing. They're doing great, but for some reason they are sitting on the floor across the room instead of sitting on the little bench with me here. So I tried. And for my regular viewers, if my voice sounds off, it's because I've still got the coughing and everything from being sick like a month ago. All right, let's get to the Coach Runway show. I watched it live yesterday. They streamed it online. I took some screenshots, so I'm going to put those up. And I will note that I will be focusing on the handbags. But let's start with just a quick look at the set for this show. As they've done before, they did this runway show on the High Line in New York City, which is right next to their new headquarters building near the Hudson River. This one part of the High Line has this statue of a bare tree. You can see all the trunk and all the branches and the root system, and it's kind of a coral pink color. At least that's how it came across on the screen. So that platform with the tree in the center was the set for this runway show. And really, it was not only that, it was New York City that was the background for the show. I saw 5 different styles of bag in this show. Let's start with the 2 that were most difficult to see because of the way that the show was filmed and photographed. The first being the backpack. Because the models are filmed from the front and sometimes from the side, we don't see the front of the backpack because the models aren't filmed from the back. But I do have a few shots where you can see the backpack a little bit. Some of them are all leather, and sorry, I'm looking down at my computer, some of these pictures while I'm talking. Some are all leather, and then some are all leather with some patches that kind of look like stickers all over the bag. And I already know a lot of you are gonna feel the same way I do about that it looks kind of childish. This is one of the things I was thinking in the show, is that they had several pieces that have these sticker looking patches. While I don't mind them doing things like that because different people have different tastes, right? Just because it doesn't appeal to me doesn't mean it won't appeal to anyone. I did find myself thinking that I was getting a little tired of seeing the same kind of thing over and over again year after year. In terms of how the bags are decorated in that way, I would really love to see some less childish prints on bags, something that adults would wear. It's because it seems like we only have the choice between solid colors and childish prints for the most part with these days, and I'm just getting a little weary of it, I guess. I'm sure a lot of you are too. But as you may have noticed on these backpacks, the most amazing thing about them, the most notable thing, is this giant kiss lock on the front of the bag. And you'll notice that that's going to be a theme throughout this Runway collection. And of course, the Coach kiss locks originate from Bonnie Cashin's designs. And she was, of course, the person who was hired to develop a line of handbags for Coach. Like, she was the first person who did that. So the kiss locks on Coach bags are very iconic, and we will see them again. Let's look at the next bag that was really hard to see on the runway, but I do have better pictures of it, and that is the chain tabby. So everybody that wore this bag had the chain over their shoulder, and they had it pushed back or pulled down, I guess, where all you saw from the front was the chain, and from the side you didn't really see much either because their arm was covering a lot of the bag. But then from the back you could see the bag a little bit. What you could see better were the big charms hanging off the front of the bag. So I kept seeing things like a star coin pouch, it looked like, or a really oversized Coach hang tag hanging from the front. And I think those are going to be popular pieces, so keep an eye out for that, especially the hang tag, because that's iconic Coach. I'm hoping that will be released in the stores in the spring. Okay, what do I want to show you next? The frame bags. I think these are probably going to be the biggest hit and the ones that are released in the boutique that people go crazy for. So let's start. They did 2 frame bags, again, classic Coach because of the kiss lock. They were 2 different sizes. So let's start with the small one, which will probably be the most popular in the retail stores. So this is a really manageable sized bag, very classic silhouette. Coach has released these before. This is easily just an updated version of a Bonnie Cashin bag. They have short little leather straps on them. I would guess that released retail, they may also come with a crossbody strap, whether that's leather or chain or maybe both. And we see these in neutral colors, the black, the brown, the chalk, but we also see a lavender color and this light blue. And that's one of the things that I think, if you're really watching the Runway show and thinking about how this is going to translate to retail, the colors is something to pick up on. These are the spring colors. You're seeing the lavender and the blue. We'll see a couple more in this next group, which is the large frame bags. This was the bag, I think, that dominated the runway. They had more of these on the runway than anything else. Now, I didn't actually go through and count, but that was the impression that I got. I felt like I kept seeing that more than anything. So again, we see one with those sticker patches, and all the models were holding these as a clutch, like a giant clutch under their arm. And they look like there's not a lot of structure. Like there's some structure to the base, but even that can bend and fold a little bit. So it would be a fairly smushy bag. Now, I don't know if this would be released in retail. My guess would be that if they do this, they're going to do smaller sizes of it that are more typical for the retail store. And if they release the giant ones, that it's going to be more like what they did with the Empire bags, where those are more limited edition pieces that you have to call your sales associate to get, maybe pre-order, and that those would probably be over $1,000. I see some writing on some of these too. And then also notice some of the colors we're seeing. This time there's a pink for spring. And then of course there is this bright, I would call it kind of a sorbet green, very springy green. So we're looking at our color palette for spring, most likely the pink, the green, the lavender, the blue, plus the neutrals that are always there. Now, since all the models are carrying those as a clutch, there are no shoulder straps shown on this bag. If it's released in retail, again, my guess would be that it would come with some kind of shoulder strap or crossbody strap or both. And even though I know that the frame bag with the kiss lock is classic Coach, it comes entirely from Bonnie Cashin, seeing this particular bag and seeing it held like that on the runway by these models, I could not help but think of the Fendi First. Anybody else? Now, do I think that they were trying to copy the Fendi First? No, I don't, because again, it's classic Coach. However, could the timing of bringing back this particular Bonnie Cashin style bag have something to do with the success of the Fendi First? Yeah, perhaps it could. Now, the fifth kind of bag that I saw on the runway, which are the most ridiculous, outrageous, most runway bags. You remember how they came out with the shape bags about a year ago, and they've had flowers and hearts and stars and moons and bananas and fish and all kinds of other shapes, right? Well, here they're doing the shapes again, but in a very different way. They have these oversized shapes, just like that frame bag that was held as a clutch is really oversized. And by the way, I saw somebody mention that they thought that Coach did that because of the Louis Vuitton oversized collection. I would have to disagree. Who knows? I could be wrong. They could be right for sure. But I think if they were drawing on the success of that collection, that they would have done a lot more with it, like Louis Vuitton did. But anyway, let's look at these bags. And they're, again, all clutches. And they, again, have the frame, the kiss lock. So here we see this oversized teddy bear, like in a gummy bear shape. And all of these are just 2 pieces of leather put together, sewn on the ends, somehow stuffed. That's something I was trying to figure out too, is if they were to release these bags, how do you use them? It's very strange. I have a hard time picturing this as a bag that even could be in retail, but it's fun to see it. Let's look what else they did. There's this big heart, which is odd, but you know, hearts for Valentine's Day again. This one looks like lips. I don't know why they keep doing lips. Is that something that's actually popular? Why do people want giant lips? But by far, the very best bag of the entire runway show was this one, the Brontosaurus. And I know when Coach first released Rexy wasn't the only dinosaur. There was also a Stegosaurus, and then there were some other animals. There was a shark, which was Sharky. Stegosaurus was Steggy. I don't remember if they did a Brontosaurus. I haven't done my video yet on the Coach Mascots collection, which is what those were called. Coach Mascots or Coach Beasts. But this would definitely have come from that, or at least be related to it, because of course this is all still Stuart Vevers as Coach's head designer. But I love the Brontosaurus. That is totally a bag that I would buy and have in my collection as a collector's piece, not something I would ever wear. But I love this one. It was my favorite. I think it was a lot of people's favorite. So I'm curious to see what you guys think of these bags. So that was the Coach Spring 2025 runway show. Let me know what you think. I think we're gonna see a bunch of frame bags and obviously the chain tabby in the retail stores in the spring in the neutrals and those spring colors that we saw. I'm very curious to see if they do anything with the shape bags, and if so, how they would change them from the runway to the boutique, because the runway pieces certainly would not be practical, but they were awfully cute. Or at least the dinosaur and the teddy bear were, not the lips. Well, thank you so much for watching. Sorry the dogs never did join us. They're asleep over here on the floor. Be sure to stay tuned for my next video on Thursday, because I'm finally going to be able to reveal this big project that we've been working on that I've kept secret for you all year so far. So I hope to see you back here next time, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.